Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube you know me as Epic Fantasy, and this is my latest tutorial. This is how to make the Conan sword, the Atlantean sword. Fun project. I give you the template, which makes it very easy for you to make, which includes the pattern of all the parts of the sword and even the ornamental decorations on it. And this is a big sword. It's almost 4 feet in size, but we still make it with regular foam board. I show you how to assemble it and put it together so it's nice and strong. Let's do the intro, and then let's do how to make the Conan Atlantean sword.
Dioramas, origami, catapults, and treasure stays, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something.
Okay, so print up the template. The link is in the description of this video down below, and we're going to start by making the blade parts. Those are labeled parts 1, 2, and 3 in the template. So go ahead and cut those parts, those 3 parts out. And you know, this is a double layered sword. Actually, the blade is double layered. The handle is 4 layers. So lay those out 1, 2, and 3 from left to right and tape them together. And then take part A. See, we get a part A and a part B. Take part A and cut it out. And then tape that part A to your sword blade. See, now we get a complete sword blade here. And you'll see why we do this A and this B. This is it'll be to make the sword nice and strong, double layered thick and nice and strong, particularly at the joint where it meets the handle. See, we're gonna do this again with B. But let me show you here. Now take this, and this is why we can do this on foam board with just the regular size foam board sheets, which are 20 inches by 30 inches and 5 millimeters thick. Lay that template out diagonally on the foam board and trace it. There you go, looks good. Now remove that part A from the blade and put on part B. Tape it in place, keep it nice and straight. And then place that on foam board and trace that. So now you've got 2 different shapes of blade. Go ahead and cut those pieces out. See, there's one. I'll show you that. See, the bottom is different. That's why. This part and this part and that part. Those are different. And that's to make a good assemble on the sword. So go ahead and cut both those pieces out. And when cutting foam board, make 3 passes. The first pass cuts just through the top layer of paper, second pass cuts the foam, and the third pass cuts through the bottom piece of paper. And when you cut these swords out, save these pieces. We're going to need them for the handle. So there we go. So now we've got our 2 blade lengths. You can go ahead and glue them together. You know, people have been asking for this sword for a long time. You know, it's a pretty famous movie. Goes back a long ways with Conan, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and people have asked for it a lot. And it felt good to finally get around to making this sword. That's a fun sword, and you know, oh, there we go. And then you can use some sandpaper to touch it up, smooth out the edges on that assembly. Okay, so now let's make the handle. We're going to end up with 4 handle pieces. There's one with the V cut in it, one with I don't know what you would call that part cut, one with this kind of cut in it, and then if this one that looks kind of like batarang. We're going to make 2 of these. So let's go ahead and do it. So you're going to end up with 4 handle pieces out of foam board. Cut your pieces out. And it says right in the template what to do. Then tape them together to make a handle piece. Place it on your foam board scrap there. Trace it and cut it out. Just need one of this one with the V cut on it. So you end up with four pieces. See, a V cut, a parallelogram, we'll call that, I guess, even though it isn't. V cut, parallelogram, and two bat harangues. Isn't that funny? It's like some kind of weird scepter. Now let's assemble it. And this is why the sword is nice and big and nice and strong. Like I said, it's almost 4 feet in length. It's a two-handed sword, and as it should be. So you put it together like this, and see, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a nice, clever way to put this together and keep it nice and strong. You don't have to worry about this coming apart on you when you're swinging it around. So put the first piece in and glue it in. Get some nice glue in those cracks. And listen, if you have trouble assembling it, feel free to, adjust the cut. Cut little pieces out as you need it to get it to fit well. Now watch. Now and notice how I put glue on the whole handle here for the second part. Now glue in the second part, the V part. See it? There we go. Now if it were just like this, it wouldn't be strong enough. It'd be strong, but not strong enough. When we put these next pieces on, one on top and one on the bottom, that strengthens it up a lot. And there we go. I love hot glue. If you don't have a hot glue gun, get one. You can get them for like $5, a small one, at like any arts and crafts store. So put the Batarang scepter on there. And you don't have to, although you don't have to use glue gun for this project, you can use regular white glue. Anything that will glue paper well. And then flip it over and put the final Batarang scepter on handle piece on this part of the sword. See that? In 7 minutes, we've pretty much built the sword. Now it's from here, it's going to be a matter of details and ornaments, making it look good. And I give you just about everything you need. There we go. Once that's dry, it's going to be nice and strong. So now cut out the ornaments, and I'll show you here. I don't show you me cutting them out, but I'll show you the ornaments. I give you both of them for this, and then apply them right there to the guard of the sword. Isn't that kind of cool? And it's just sort of like a base ornament. You could leave it like this, but I'll show you a little bit. We're going to do some detail work to it later to make it look even better. And here's another sheet here. All right, the pommel and the guard the guard cuff. There's a name for that piece right here near the guard. But you get bonus points if you leave a comment telling me what that name of that piece is. I can't think of it offhand. It's like a collar or a collet. It's not the tsuba. On samurai swords, it's kind of making me think of a tsuba, but it's not the tsuba. The tsuba is like the guard. So there you go. Put that collar piece on there, wrap it around, and I made it a little extra long. So what you could do is glue it on, and as you glue it, just trim it down to the right size, because your sword may vary a little bit from mine. But nice. See, I'm going to trim it there and then finish gluing it, and then do the pommel. And I think in the template, I only have one of these, but you should have two, one for each side of the sword. So you may have to reprint that page. That's okay, do that. Or just put one pommel on. Paint the other side if you want. There we go. It's got the little skull on it and like the wire wrapping. It's kind of a neat little thing. I really looked at pictures of the actual sword to try to get this reasonably accurate. So there we go. We've got some ornament on that sword. There's one more ornament to go. But first, let's do some painting. Get yourself some metallic silver paint. and paint the blade, the whole blade. And if you don't have silver paint, that's okay. Mix up some gray, a light gray, and that'll be okay for the sword. It'll be okay. Silver's a little better. And if you got spray paint silver, that's the best. Really looks like metal. And now let me show you some of the ornamental work. Have a little bit of fun here, adding a little bit of color to this. Don't overdo it with the color. But a gold, if you have it, which is kind of nice, it gives like this nice tint to it. Just to draw it in there and do some shading and highlighting. And what really makes this pop is if you use a black marker or a Sharpie. See, I like that. It gives it a little bit of depth. Kind of makes it look a little bit more metallic. Now all of a sudden there's almost some three-dimensional depth to that piece. See how it is? Which I like it. But hey, have fun. Do the collar and do the pommel too. Okay, a couple more things. We're almost done. We got about 4 more minutes left to go in this video. If you make this sword, be sure to send me a picture. I will send you I really do. I've sent out thousands of certificate of contribution, and I will put the picture on my website, and I'll send you a link so you can check it out. I really, true, thousands I've done. I couldn't tell you how many pages of pictures of people that make my projects. So the engraving that goes on the sword, put that in there like this, and I give you that. It's in a template. And then I ended up washing over this with a little bit of watery gray paint to make it look a little better. It was a little too white. So watery gray, wash over it with watery gray paint, or watery silver paint. And now the handle, you can paint the handle if you want, a brownish color. Or what I ended up doing was using this leather workers thread. I bought that like string in Walmart for I think it was like $3. And I've used it for other projects too. And I wrapped it. You glue down one end and then just wrap it all the way around the whole thing. And it actually has a nice feel to it too. But just go ahead and wrap that whole thing. And then once it's all wrapped, Mod Podge it so it seals it in place. You don't have to worry about it coming undone. And if you don't have Mod Podge, you can make your own Mod Podge kind of with white glue and water. Mix 50-50 white glue and water and then paint that on. And what it does is it seals it, holds everything in place, and protects it. So now this part is interesting. Where I'm painting the black here, on the actual sword, that's like a metallic guard on the blade. And this whole section here is called the ricasso of the sword, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to show you how the ricasso works at the end of this video. And you actually, with a two-handed sword, sometimes the fighting gets a little too close. You need to, you would call it choking up on the sword. You would grab the ricasso. I'll show you that. So there we go. The sword is done. Yay, you made the Conan sword. Hey, Arnold is making a new Conan movie, which be fun to see. So now we Mod Podge that handle to protect it and to keep everything in place. Now Mod Podge the whole sword. Or use 50-50 white glue and water and seal everything off. It's a good thing to do. It will give you a sword longevity. Seals it, keeps the colors bright, makes it stronger, protects it from water. And that's it. We'll take one more look at the sword and I'll show you how the ricasso works. Ricasso. It's found often on two-handed swords. So you can choke up on the sword and get closer combat. So there we go. It's all done. Oh, don't forget to put the filler in there like I did. I didn't show that. But here we go. Let's take a look at the sword. I like it. I give you everything. I give you the template, 2 sheets of foam board, and some paint, and a knife is pretty much all you need. But watch now. See, now you can actually hold the handle with one hand. Then you, like this, it's a two-hander. And you put your other hand on the ricasso, so now you have more control over wielding the sword in close situations. That's it. Thanks for watching this video. But hey, listen, if you like to make these kinds of swords, I have pretty close to 100 sword projects. Let me show you just a few of them here. Geez, I couldn't even, you will recognize some of them. right? From video games, from movies, right? From Skyrim, from all kinds of wonderful, just wonderful swords. Just a lot of fun. That one, Frostmourne, Skyrim. There we go. You recognize that one? Even the glass sword. And I even have tutorials on how to make real swords. Thanks for watching. Lots more stuff coming. Hit that subscribe button and consider Patreon.
Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always have lots of fun and interesting and very creative projects. I do 2 new ones every week. As an example, here's a couple more videos you might want to watch.